Good morning and welcome to SUNUP. I'm Dave Deacon and we're coming to you from the Payne County Fair, which is the second stop in our County Fair series, and we'll have more on that later in the show. But first, you probably know that planters will be rolling across Oklahoma soon, and many of those planters will have canola in them. With some important planting deadlines for canola, here's Lyndall Stout.
An important deadline is here for canola producers, and here to talk about it is Extension economist Eric DeVeest. And Eric, tell us about the program deadline that arrives on Monday.
Yeah, the crop insurance sign-up deadline for canola producers is August 31, Monday. If they live in one of the 15 program counties, they can just go in and fill out the standard application for crop insurance. For producers in other counties, there's a little bit more involved. They have to fill out what's called a written agreement, and so that'll take a little more time, but the deadline is here, as you say, and they need to get rolling on that Monday because there will not be an extension as we saw with the Farm Bill sign-up.
Now, we'll show the counties on the screen, the 15 counties that we're talking about, but the key is to get in there and get that plan together, right?
Yep, exactly. This is it. Monday's the deadline.
Okay. And in terms of the planting window, what does that look like?
Okay, so under crop insurance, they have from September 10 through October 10th to get their canola planted. If they go outside of that, let's say they don't get everything planted by October 10th, they have a 3% penalty on their guarantee per day for 5 days. After the 5th day, they won't be eligible for coverage anymore.
And then in terms of follow-up questions, it's best just to contact your insurance agent?
Yeah, the crop insurance agents are the best people to talk to about this. They've got all the rules, and they go through training so that they can complete these in a timely manner.
Okay, Eric DeVeest, thanks a lot. We'll see you again soon.
Thank you.
Producers are thinking about planting canola right now across Oklahoma, and Josh, what should they be thinking about in the fields?
Well, obviously we need to know what we're starting with.
Right.
So obviously our foundation is knowing what's out there in the ground, getting a good quality soil test, at least a 0 to 6 inches, if not get a subsoil sample as well. So we know where our fertility levels are and what we need to do pre-plant. Stuff like nitrogen or potassium and phosphate we want to take care ahead of planting. Nitrogen we're going to put somewhere between 1/3 to 2/3 down pre-plant, so we really need to know up front what our soils are, where they're at right now. And so taking care of fertility, and next is getting the field prepared. If you're conventional, hopefully we're using our final passes right now to get that ground in the final shape, trying to get it firmed up the best we can. Hopefully we'll get another rain before planting. In no-till, we still need to manage that residue in some shape or form. The most extreme scenario would be burning it with fire, but obviously a lot of no-tillers frown upon losing all that residue they're trying to build up. And so we're trying to, at OSU, look at some other options. Case in point, right behind us, we have a strip till unit where the producer can strip just a zone that they're going to plant into and still have quite a bit of residue between those rows. And these are going to typically be on 30-inch row spacing. In some cases, the strip tillers have the option to put down pre-plant fertilizer, either anhydrous or liquid, so we can get that fertilizer down below the seeding zone and get that taken care of ahead of planting as well. But in no-till, we still need to manage that residue in some shape or form, either with the harrow. Some guys are using vertical till. Some guys are starting to look at the idea of a strip till. But at the very least, some producers are using a vacuum planter, a row crop planter, because they do have some row cleaner options that most grain drills don't. So managing that residue, at least where you're planting, we're a lot more successful in no-till. So getting the ground prepared, making sure we have the fertilizer where we need it, and then take care of weeds. Make sure it's weed free before we plant. Obviously it's taking up moisture, but we want to get that a stale seed bed before planting.
And when it does come to planting, there's the setting of the planter too. And talk about an opportunity that you guys have coming up for that.
Next week, we do have 3 calibration clinics slated for Oklahoma. Next Wednesday we'll be in El Reno, 9 o'clock in the morning. And then next Thursday we'll be starting in Nash at 9 o'clock in the morning, and then end up Guthrie in the afternoon about 3 o'clock. So if a producer is wanting to know how to set a drill, feel free to attend those. Those are free to the public. We'll go through thoroughly on how to calibrate a drill properly, because when you're looking at canola, very small seed and a very low seeding rate. So often it's kind of challenging to get some of these box drills, especially to get down to that 4 to 5 pound seeding rate and do it properly. So we spend a lot of our time in the fall assisting producers, and we're hoping these clinics are a way for the producers to get a little advantage in getting their drill calibrated before it's actually time to plant.
Okay, thank you much, Josh. And we'll put a link to the canola calibration clinic that you guys have coming up on our website, sunup.okstate.edu.
Hi, I'm Al Sutherland with your Mesonet weather report. With September's arrival on Tuesday, we come to a month that can have roller coaster ups and downs. September is when air temperature is important because it can change so quickly. September can be a month with wide swings from daytime highs to nighttime lows. We've already seen some temperature swinging. The morning of August 25th on Tuesday was on the cool side. Nowata had a low of 49 degrees. Lows were in the 50s in the northeast and western panhandle. The warmest low, 73 degrees at Durant. That afternoon on Tuesday, highs were in the 80s and 90s. The coolest high was 83 at Nowata, Veneta, Miami, Jay, Tahlequah, and Westville. The warmest high was 98 at Hooker in the Panhandle. So there were some pretty good swings from a cool morning to a warm afternoon on August 25th. The largest jump was 42 degrees at Kenton. Nearby Boise City had a 39-degree swing. There were lots of Mesonet locations across the state that had temperature spreads of 30 or more degrees. Durant had the least spread, 15 degrees from a morning low of 73 to an afternoon high of 88. We may see some more days reach 100 or more degrees in Oklahoma, but as we move through September, the chances of that edge down. Through August 26th, Grandfield is on top with 23 days. The second highest count of 100 plus days is Hobart with 19. 26 Mesonet sites have not seen a 100-degree day this year. Rains from August 16th through the 26th were particularly heavy in the northeastern and east central portions of Oklahoma, the yellow, orange, and red-colored map areas. Stigler had the highest rain gauge total, 6 8/85 inches. Areas with higher rainfall amounts significantly impacted the change in soil moisture at 10 inches. The dark green map areas show increases in soil moisture from August 19th to August 25th. Red Rock and McAllister increased by 9/10 on a scale that runs from 0 to 1. Copan, Tulsa, Marshall, and Wilburton saw increases of 8/10. That's a great boost for fall pastures and end-of-season hay crops in those areas. The latest Oklahoma drought map from the U.S. Drought Monitor has slightly expanded drought designations for abnormally dry conditions, the yellow areas, and moderate drought, tan areas in the southeast. The National Weather Service's temperature outlook for September shows a higher chance of cooler temperatures in the northwest portion of our state. For rain, there is a higher chance of above average rainfall across most of Oklahoma. Looking ahead at the 3-month outlooks for the fall season of September, October, and November, there is a higher chance of cooler, below average air temperatures. For rain, there is a higher chance of above average rainfall. Thanks for joining us for this edition of the Mesonet Weather Report.
Producers are making those decisions on nitrogen right now, and some guys are out in the field. Let's kind of talk about why nitrogen is important to the field.
Right, nitrogen is our #1 limiting nutrient,
Right.
So that's what we need the most of. The soils are most limited in, so that's one of our major decisions. And right now there's a lot of rigs running, seeing a lot of anhydrous going out. It's one of our lower cost products, but a little bit tougher to handle. #1 product we see going out as we transition closer to planting is urea. With products like urea, or with urea, there's opportunity for losses that are unlike anhydrous, which are putting into the soil. If you're in a conventional system and you apply your urea on your ground and get it worked in, there's very limited chances for loss. But anytime the urea prill gets to sit on the surface of the soil,
Right.
it has opportunity to dissolve and actually be lost through gases going up, through ammonia going up into the atmosphere.
And that's really important, especially say with no-till. No-till farmers have an out-of-the-box option when it comes to application.
While all this rain has been fantastic and it's going to make a great seed bed, and we're probably going to have great germination and good stands with this moisture, which we haven't seen in years. If we look at it as far as urea going on the soil in a no-till system, it doesn't help us one bit at all. There's probably enough moisture in our soil right now. If it's a wet system and you applied it just after the ground firmed up enough to get the urea on and there's no rain coming, that's going to drive our losses. And you combine a wet soil by the dews that we've been getting of recent and are projected out to get some more. So we get these dews, we have a wet soil, we have enough moisture to start melting that prill, and then we get to 85, 90 degrees in the day and we get 20-mile-per-hour winds. Those conditions right now are going to drive our urea losses more this year than we've seen in the past several years. There's actually, it's not a new thinking,
Right.
but it's very limited thinking. There's other ways that we can put the same product, urea, and get it into the soil surface in no-till, and even in some conventional till if it can't be worked. There's been producers across the state for many years now that are using their old box drills to basically drill in their urea before planting. This is a great idea if you've got the time and the resources, because it gets the urea prill into the soil surface, just like incorporating it with a disc, and it saves on a lot of potential losses. The other option is an air seeder. Now, most people wouldn't think about this due to the much greater cost of running an air seeder. The repair cost is greater, the equipment price is greater. But there's actually break-even points where if you look at the potential losses, in certain conditions, you could run an air seeder and get in nitrogen and be more cheap or more cost effective than broadcasting it and having that opportunity for loss.
Okay, and this is a lot of great timely information for those producers who are out in the field right now.
If we're doing everything pre-plant, use that old rule of thumb, 2 pounds of N per bushel, and get that out there. However, I'm a huge proponent of delaying that into split application. Put it a little bit up front and delay it into in-season to let that environment tell you how to do it. Now's the time of year to get out your enriched strips. That's 30 to 50 pounds of nitrogen in a small area out in the field on top of your pre-plant.
Right.
You can watch it through the season. If you ever see that strip get greener than the rest of the field, it's time to fertilize. Call your local county extension agent and have them come out with Green Seeker.
Okay, thank you much, Brian Ernell. And for more information and a link to his blog, go to our website, sunup.okstate.edu.
As we go into this fall's calving season, I thought it'd be a good idea to remind producers as well as family members or hired hands that would be looking at cows or heifers during the calving season that we remind them of the 3 stages of the calving process. Because if we understand normal, then we're better and more likely to pick out those that have something going wrong and we need to provide some assistance. The first stage of calving is one that might miss our attention as we're looking at cows and heifers, because that first stage of calving, the primary thing that's happening is the dilation of the cervix. And what we may see while we're observing cattle closely is just a little difference in behavior of the cow or the heifer perhaps the one that begins to separate herself from the rest of the herd, looking for a place to lie down. This stage of calving is quite variable. It has been known to be as short as only about 4 hours, may last as long as 24 hours. The second stage of calving is where all the action is. That's the one where we have the actual delivery of the calf. Stage 2 begins as we first see the appearance of a water bag. In a lot of cases, what we'll find first as we're observing these cattle is the appearance of the baby calf's feet. Stage 2 isn't over until that calf is completely delivered. And we'll remind you once again that on the average, that should occur in about 1 hour's time in a 2-year-old heifer having her first calf, and about 30 minutes time in an adult cow that's had calves before. So if we're observing these cattle and after an hour's time that first calf heifer isn't making real progress, or the adult cow isn't making real progress after 30 minutes, then we probably need to go ahead and get her up and examine her, provide assistance if we can. If we're incapable of providing assistance, then we need to call our local veterinarian quickly so that we can save both the cow and the calf. The third stage of calving is the cleaning of the afterbirth, the release of the placenta. And this generally should take place in 8 to 12 hours after calving. After that period of time, it's considered a retained placenta. That's the point where I would encourage producers to, number one, don't manually remove that placenta. You can cause more damage than good. Keep a close eye on that cow or heifer. If she shows any signs of infection, droopy ears, being a little lethargic, then we probably want to contact our local veterinarian for treatment of that retained placenta, because there's probably an infection setting in. If you'd like to learn more about working with these cows and heifers at calving time, I encourage you to go to the SUNUP website. Remember, that's sunup.okstate.edu, and there's a link under show links to the publication called Calving Time Management for Beef Cows and Heifers. Great publication that'll give you a lot of information about working with these cattle during the calving season. Hey, we look forward to visiting with you again next week on SUNUP's Cow-Calf Corner.
They're cleaning wheat behind us because we're getting close to planting that wheat, Kim. Let's go real basically on the price of wheat as we stand right now.
Well, if you look at wheat prices, especially if you're looking out to July of 16, the basis are running somewhere between 30 and 50 cents below that KC July contract price. It's about 520 on the futures markets. That'll get you somewhere around 375 or 475, 480 for prices. Now, I think something to consider there for marginal land is if the cost of production for producing that wheat's up around $4.75, $5, then you may be better off to cash rent that land, buy the board for that July 16. If prices go down, you're going to lose that money anyway. If prices go up, you make the profit, and you can take that cash rent and go to Florida and have some fun. I wouldn't forward contract wheat for harvest delivery right now.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask you. Look into your crystal ball as far as wheat and canola goes. There's still a lot of wheat in the bins right now. Is it worth planting wheat this year?
Oh, you always plant wheat. If you're in business, you're either in the business or you're not. You're either a wheat producer if you're not. It doesn't matter how low prices go. Remember, the cure for low prices is low prices. I told the group that the good news is prices are low. Yes, I think they could go down. My bottom cash price that we could see anytime is around $4 in Oklahoma. We've got $4.40 to $4.60 wheat right now. So we could take that price down in some areas below for southern Oklahoma, but in central Oklahoma we could lose another 60 cents. You still plant that wheat because the lower it gets, the higher the odds are that the price is going up. It will go back up. Our average price is over $6, and that's over the next 5-6 years. That's the price we're going to average.
Do you think we'll see $6 wheat in June of 2016?
I don't think we're going to see $6 by June.
Right.
I don't think. Go back to 2010. We came in 2010 with prices down around $3.30 by the time we got to end of of August, we was up above 60, but we had to lose the foreign crop. And you normally don't get those reports until you get into the July-August time period. In 2010, in early June, mid-June, we had low prices. It was early July before those prices took off. And so if prices go higher, I think it's going to be in that time period. Here's a caveat. Unless we lose Argentina and Australia, and right now Australia is getting rain and their crop expectations are increasing.
Okay, thank you much, Kim Anderson, Grain Marketing Specialist here at Oklahoma State University.
We're talking about antioxidants today with Norhan Dunford, our oil and oilseed specialist here at the Food and Ag Products Center. And Norhan, we hear a lot about antioxidants in the news. Let's start with just a basic definition.
An antioxidant is a substance that inhibits or slows down oxidation products. Most of the life on Earth requires oxygen, but at the same time, oxygen is a very reactive compound. And produced during oxidation produces harmful compounds known as free radicals. If the foods we eat are not prepared or stored properly, they may contain free radicals. Free radicals are harmful because they may damage, even kill cells and genetic material. And they also accelerate the aging process and cause chronic diseases such as cancer, diabetes, and heart disease. And antioxidants provide us from these harmful products, free radicals.
So in terms of the foods that we can eat to kind of counteract some of the free radicals that contain antioxidants, what kind of things should we look for?
Most of the foods contain antioxidants. For example, most of the vitamins act as antioxidants. For example, vitamin A, present in milk, cheese, the fatty foods like oilseeds, nuts, they contain fat-soluble antioxidants such as vitamin E. The fruits such as tomatoes and carrots contain beta-carotene. So in general, fruits and vegetables are rich in antioxidants. That's the best way to get antioxidants.
Is it important to eat those foods raw? Does it matter if they're cooked?
Most of the antioxidants are sensitive to light and high heat. So most of the antioxidants would oxidize or degrade during the cooking process.
Okay, and then in terms of antioxidant supplements, I can't always get all the fresh fruits and vegetables that I need every day. So what's the difference between that and then taking a supplement?
There's no concern about the antioxidants in foods, the antioxidants naturally present in foods, but there are some concerns about the antioxidant supplements if they're taken at high doses. The reason for that is some of the antioxidants react with medication. If you're taking a medication, they might interact and cause stress. And fat-soluble antioxidants may accumulate, excess of the fat-soluble antioxidants may accumulate in the liver and also in fatty tissues, causing, again, risks. So the best way is to have a healthy diet rich in fruits and vegetables, because there's no concern with the excess of antioxidants in those products.
Okay, Norhan, thank you very much. A good lesson on antioxidants.
This year, SUNUP's doing the show from 5 county fairs across the state. And this last week, we kind of took a sidestep and added a 6th county fair to the show by stopping by the 100th Grady County Fair, where they're doing a lot of great events like Kids Day.
Well, this is our fun day here at the Grady County Fair. Of course, it's a centennial fair here in 2015, and we have 500 second and third graders from all over our county.
We started at 9 o'clock and we'll be finished around 2 o'clock.
We get to spend some time here at Grady County letting those kids know, hey, here's where milk comes from, here's how food's produced, and here's your local sheriff, here's how they make goat's milk and how they make soap and so on. So there's so many different areas that we get to that maybe they'd never get exposed in their classrooms.
With over 500 students from across Grady County converging on the Grady County Fairgrounds, it takes a small army of volunteers to make this event happen.
The volunteers love it because they have an audience that's eager to learn, and they know they have something to share.
For our program, we teach electrical safety. We teach young elementary school kids to use electricity wisely. Electricity is surrounding us every day, and sometimes we take it for granted and we forget just how dangerous it is.
When you only have 15 minutes, you need a little help to get your point across, especially when you're talking with second and third graders.
It shows how you don't actually have to touch a line in order for the electricity to jump over to you. And we put Hot Dog Harry on here, and we catch him on fire. The kids love it, and that makes it a good safety demonstration.
Not only did the students learn about electrical safety, they rotated through a total of 10 stations dealing with nutrition.
You're supposed to eat at least 5 fruits and vegetables every day.
Fire safety.
You're not going to rush. We're not going to get ready.
And even climbing safety.
It's been overwhelmingly supportive. When we tell them that we have 500 students coming through, they can't wait to get here to present their program to that many students in that short a period of time.
Well, this is the time in their life they're so impressionable.
Don't eat a lot of candy, because it has a lot of sugars and might get in the middle of your teeth.
And then that could cause cavities later.
Mm-hmm. And as we get that time to actually put that positive impression out there, to totally really understand not only agriculture, but the people that they deal with within their county and within our state.
The kids are very excited to be here. We couldn't be more pleased.
Well, thank you for joining us this week for SUNUP as we come to you from the Payne County Fair. If you saw something on the show that you'd like to learn more about, visit our website, sunup.okstate.edu. And while you're there, also check out our social media. Join us next week as we come to you from the Pontotoc County Fair in Ada. And remember, Oklahoma agriculture starts at sunup.